And joining me now is our Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Paul Roumeliotis. Welcome back, Doctor.
Good to be back, Gabriel.
All right, so over the last couple of weeks, Doctor, we've been talking about the light at the end of the tunnel, and it certainly seems like it's getting closer and closer. Earlier in the week, the province did announce that certain businesses could start reopening, such as garden centers, and the announcement today that places like hardware stores could also begin opening up, of course, with the same restrictions. So let's get your thoughts on those reopenings.
Well, I think that they're very logical. I think the progression was really let's open some stores that are seasonal, that are also important for this time of year. And I was an advocate from the beginning about garden centers opening up and at least initially doing some curbside deliveries. I know that there's been a request by the garden centers and nurseries to be able to have people go inside and pay and look around. And so in response to that, to the extension that was started this past week, as of today, right now you can go into garden centers and purchase, look around. Again, however, we still are going to be maintaining the social distance. Very important. Despite these openings, that we're still going to be maintaining the social distancing, washing your hands, don't go to the store if you're sick, don't work at those stores if you're sick, and so on. So it's just to me, it's just a sign that we're getting back to normal. It's going to be a long trek, but I think that's a good sign that we're seeing. The other thing that was added today was an expansion a bit more to more residential construction, because a lot of construction that's been left behind, because of this pandemic. And so the government wants to start these processes moving forward. A lot of them are falling behind, and that's going to rev up the local economy, which is very good for everybody. And again, I stress that we have not removed, however, the requirements for not to gather more than 5 people in one place, to have social distancing, to wash your hands, and so on. So I don't want people to lose sight of that, because as we're progressively pulling back some of these measures, right, we're actually keeping an eye on the number of infections, the number of people that go to the hospital, and so on. And so the last thing we want to do is we want to sort of see a peak of these things, because people are not adhering to these, not continuing to adhere to these precautions, and then all of a sudden we got to again start closing things, which we don't want to do. So it's a slow, gradual, but well thought out approach. And I can also tell you that the Premier announced a couple of days ago, I think yesterday, that also looking at some more outdoor amenities. Like, for example, I can tell you that, that as of Monday, marinas and golf courses were told they can open up to prepare for the season. So it just tells you that likely, over the next couple of weeks, during the first stage of the opening that was released by the Premier in terms of his framework last week, during the first phase of that opening, likely those, golf courses and marinas will be allowed to operate again with the restrictions. Perhaps the clubhouse will be closed, the restaurants will be closed, but again, with social distancing and all the proper precautions taken.
Absolutely. And of course, we know that public health measures such as testing and contact tracing will continue as well to be very, very important. On that note, Doctor, we're out of time for this segment, but of course, we will have you back later in the week to talk a little bit more about the current local situation with COVID-19. On that note, thank you so much for joining me for this update.
No problem. Thank you.